My favourite male voices I love to listen to. You know me, I love listening to different types of voices, listening to the tones and the sounds and the uniqueness of each one of our voices. Now, obviously, this podcast, you can read it as the blog, you can see it on my Instagram page, you can check it out on YouTube. Just type in Leighanne's voice and you'll find it. So choose whichever format you want to listen, watch or read. I've picked out 5 male voices. Well, actually 6 to be honest this week that I wanted to share with you of male voices of the ones that I really, really love. They've all got something different, edgy, or it's got a rasp on it, or really clear. So I picked these voices because I just couldn't stop at 5. You know me. They just have some really uniqueness, something different. They stand out to me. I just love the different qualities in them. Now you might think, like, why am I talking about a voice? Well, let me tell you something, yeah? Your voice is as unique as your thumbprint. Like, can you imagine? So your voice sounds like nobody else's in the whole world. So even if you're a twin, there even are some differences. Your voice is as unique even from your family. Although, right, you can sound like someone else in your family. Like, for example, me. I sound like one of my older sisters. I can hear the similarity in our voices. But there's also a certain difference, like the stress on the words, the pitch, the pace and the pitch, etc. Let me tell you about these 2 voices that I love. Denzel Washington and his son, John David Washington. Like, every woman loves the sound of Denzel Washington's voice. And if you've ever seen his son, John David Washington, to me, they sound very, very similar. Like one time I think I was doing something and I heard the voice go and I thought, oh, Denzel's got some TV show out. Turn around, I'm waiting and looking for Denzel to come on this TV screen. I'm like, well, where is he then? I can hear him, but I can't see him. Then I realised it's not even Denzel, it's his son who's got very similar qualities. And can you imagine you can inherit the same type of similar vocal tone and voices like your parents? I was like, wow, they sound very, very similar. And I really love different voices as they're so unique and it says so much about the person. Let me walk you through 3 of these different voices that I love to hear. First up, The Rock. Now, I really, really love The Rock. When he talks, he really accentuates his mouth and smiles and pauses, and it's really clear in his delivery tones. It's very easy to understand as well when he talks, and I love his voice. He's got like a different edge to it. Even when singing for a cartoon, I think it was on Mail or something like that. I loved his voice on that one. And my next favourite one here is the grandfather, like no other, Morgan Freeman. He's like cool and smooth and calming and reassuring. So he's basically got like that big booming voice of God in your ears. And Morgan Freeman has got that "it's going to be okay" tone all day long. I love for him to talk to me all day when I'm stressing out. I love his voice, really smooth, calming and clear. Let me move on, yeah? James L. Jones. Oh, let me crack it open right here, yeah? So another voice that makes me prick up my ears and focus my listening is James L. Jones. His voice always comes on the cinema trailers and adverts, and his voice has got lots of power and strength. You know, I remember him coming to America film with Eddie Murphy back in the day, and I remember hearing his voice. I was like, who is that? You know? I think he was the king, or what? He played his father, he played the king. He was so good in that. Okay. Now, not only is this one, the next one, a great actor, but his voice kills it. In particular on the films like Taken, he's got that husky, don't mess with me or else I'll kill you kind of voice. Sometimes, like, when Irish accents talk, when they say words like this, tree or 13, it really reminds me of the Jamaican accent times. So I feel right at home. So, of course, I'm talking about Liam Neeson. He's like, you know, just like one of my favourite accents out there. And, of course, if we're going to talk about favourite kind of British accents, let me talk about my favourite James Bond. Sean Connery. Now don't get me wrong, I usually find the Scottish accent a bit hard to hear. It kind of bounces around a bit. I don't really understand it always because of the pace and the pronunciation. I don't hear it that often. Man, I love Sean Connery's voice. Like, he's kind of got a whisper, a husk on it. I love it when he says shrieking, not stirred. You know, like when he does that, he's got a different way of articulating. I love it when Sean Connery talks. Now, let's move on now. This next voice. Oh, ladies, let me tell you about this next voice. Now, let me get really close to the mic for this next voice to try and create a scene of intimacy. Now, I only discovered this voice this year now, and I stumbled upon a podcast on Spotify called 3 Shots of Tequila. Now, a word of caution here. It is very or a little bit explicit at times, so be warned before you listen. Me, I just kind of tumbled Tina into it because I was like, what is this? So on this podcast, right, there's this voice, and it's one that just kind of draws you in there, ladies, right? It's like the attractive, strong, powerful voice of Marvin Ibis, one of the podcast hosts. I think there's 3 guys on there. Taser Black, Mr. Exposed, and Marvin Ibis, of course, all 3 of them. And let me explain this guy, Marvin Ibis' voice. It's like, Where do I start? It's like London, edgy, street, mature, African, millennial, all mixed in at once. So when I hear this voice, I feel like I'm talking to my crew. You know, it's like my friend, and I feel right at home when I hear his voice. So whenever I've heard his voice, like on Instagram or just around or about, I was like, aha, I know who this is talking now. So these are some of my favourite male voices at the moment. They've all got different qualities and strengths. I love them all. Different sounds, different qualities, all sound differently. And if you want to hear more about me, my thoughts on all about the voice, you can listen to more of the podcast, which you can find on Anchor or on Spotify. Check out my YouTube page, my Instagram page, on my website, and you can find all of those on Leighanne's Voice. And if you want to improve the way you speak, feel free to check out my accent reduction and articulation course, which should be in the link in the comments below. And of course, if you want to book me for voiceover or speaking coaching, please feel free to email me on leighanne@leighannesvoice.com. And have a great and amazing day.